everyone, and welcome. I'm Rozy.
And I'm Shorty.
And this is
Skate Sunday.
Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Season 2, baby.
Season 2.
Back, bigger, better than ever.
We're back. Back in the
Thanks for joining us for another episode. We have a really special guest, a two-timer.
You might remember.
She got 2. Alexis is here. Alexis Ojeda Brown. You may know her as the Jamdalorian on Instagram. So we're going to welcome her into our show. Hi, Alexis. Welcome to Skate Sunday.
God, I did not know I was the first returning guest. I did not know that. I feel so special. I bet everyone's at home's like, oh, it's got to be like, you know, someone who matters. Not this
You matter. What the hell?
What?
What the
Top
hell? Well, welcome back. So what you been up to? How were your New Year's resolutions? Did you finish them? Did you complete them? How's it going?
You mean the New Year's resolution when I said I was going to be that girl at the rink?
Yes.
That I was going to be jamming my way to success?
Yes.
Yes.
Making
No.
your, as you said, making your ancestors proud.
I made them like, I didn't make them proud yet. They're like, okay, they're tolerating me.
They smart. They give a little, all right.
Okay. She's doing okay. I did go to the rink for like 2 months straight with my friends. I was like every Sunday we were going to sophisticated Sundays with all the aunties and uncles, and they was really skating rings around me. It was wild. But I got better at my crazy legs. I can say that I could do crazy legs now. I mean, so that was good. Dips still not in my grasp yet. No dips for me. Spins still not for me. I could probably get 3 rotations tops, maybe 4 on a good day. But I don't got the core strength for it yet. And then it started getting warmer out, and the park called to me again, and I was like, oh man.
Someone's addicted to the park.
a little bit.
A little bit.
A little
Okay.
bit.
Gets a little bit warmer in Baltimore, and she's like,
You know what?
I'm
I need to
in
be
the
outside.
streets. I'm
Out here in the
outside.
I'm
streets.
outside.
I will say that my local rink just switched ownership, and they're renovating it, which it desperately needed it. Okay, it was stuck in like the early 1990s. The floor was bumpy as hell. The carpet, I don't know if it's ever been vacuumed. That's how it gave. That's the vibes it gave. So they're renovating it. I cannot wait for it to reopen up. Oof. When it reopens up, I'm sure I'll be back on that rink life.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure your ancestors are proud of you no matter what.
Yeah.
You're
making an effort.
You're doing more work.
You did more than enough. You're better than the you that was like not going. And now
Yes.
at least you know.
100%.
You're absolutely right. The me that wasn't going could not do crazy legs. So I got
And
something
I'm
out of
kind
it.
of with you too, because I feel like I unlocked crazy legs recently too. And it's just such a thing. Like you work on it so long and you're like, I look crazy. I'm doing goofy legs. I'm doing silly legs. This is not it. I'm trying.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
crab
not
legs
looking
for a
cute.
while, but one day I was just watching someone else do it. And I was like, I'm not pushing my back foot back. That's keeping me from doing this. And then I was like, got it. And
just opens up the world when you figure that one key movement.
So
well, congratulations on your crazy legs.
Thanks.
You so crazy. You so crazy, girl.
She's
crazy. Watch
crazy
out.
girl.
Crazy.
I'm
girl.
loco.
Crazy girl. Look at you, crazy girl. You loco. Loco rollers. Oh my God. That's awesome. So you're getting back into the park, even though you're doing what you can, all right? You're doing what you can. That's what counts.
Yeah. It was very interesting though. Since I was like really going to the rinks, and I was really being able to immerse myself in that environment, seeing how different it was from park culture and how I physically feel in that space versus how I feel at a park. It was a nice little social experiment for me, going back and forth.
Say more on that.
Yeah, describe your experience with that.
And I think I rapped about this a couple of times in my stories, but one, I don't have to like at the rink. I don't have to like put on a face. Like I don't have to smile. I don't have to be overly nice to people that I see there. You kind of just go and do your own thing. You know, everyone minds their own business, and if someone sees you struggling or something, they'll like the old heads will come up and do it to you, but you don't have to pretend to be overly nice or be afraid of offending someone there. And I think it's just because, again, I go to a black rink. The rink I went to, it was all Negroes, all black people. So I just felt more comfortable. Whereas like at the park, I'm usually with white skaters, and I feel like I have to smile more and speak with a, you know, more polite tone so I don't be perceived in a certain way. And even when I talk to people that like I'm friends with that at park skating, I still find myself like subconsciously being nicer than like how I'm talking to you guys right now, just normal, you know. But sometimes I'll be like, hey guys, yeah, with people like at the park, only because I want people to perceive me in a positive way. I don't want to be seen as the angry black woman. I don't want to be seen with the resting bitch face and things like that. Whereas at the rink, I could go up there, mean mugging anybody. I could just do my thing in the corner and no one's gonna bother me. No one's gonna look at me funny. Like I'm just, everyone's just there to be there. You don't feel self-conscious at all. And maybe it's because, you know, everyone's black there, so you don't stick out at all. And also because I can't fucking skate, so I'm not sticking out anyway.
Oh my god!
Don't be so
talk
hard
about
on yourself.
like,
Not in front of me. I don't like it.
God, don't talk about my friend like that.
Seriously.
Look, I if you're skating in Snap City, like it's just an immense amount of talent in our rinks, and these people have been skating since birth. Generations of family members skating. So when I say I can't skate, it's not going down on me. It's really just the level is just that high at these rinks and the people I'm skating with. It's more of like a respect thing. Like they're just, I don't know when I'll get there. Maybe when I'm like 80 or something. I don't know. But they be putting in work. But it was just way more comfortable there, only because like it was just really relaxing. Also, the music's way better. At parks, like you're not really gonna have music unless someone brings speakers. But I'm someone who skates better with music, and that goes for jam skating or park skating. Whenever I go to the park, I'll have my speakers with me, and I have my, you know, beat that bitch with a bat playlist. That's exactly what it's called.
Yes.
And it's filled with just women rap artists.
Yes.
But you know, people definitely interact with my music at the park way different than if I were to play that playlist at the rink, you know. It's just different vibes and things like that. So that's just it. I just felt way more comfortable, and it was just really interesting because I didn't think I would experience that much of a difference, and it'd be so obvious to me. Like it was so clearly obvious to me the difference that I felt from doing park skating and being in a predominantly white environment than rink skating and being in a predominantly black environment. And I wasn't the only one who noticed. Like the friends I went to the rink with noticed it too, and things like that. So it was just, I'm glad that like it wasn't just in my head, and that it's something that like a lot of black park skaters experience when they suddenly jump to the rink and they're in a black environment. So I'm a part of CIB Baltimore, and I absolutely adore the group. They were the ones who I first found. Like my first time going to a park by myself was at a CIB Baltimore meetup. And like I've made a lot of good friends from CIB Baltimore. Of course, all of them are white. I have a couple of cool Asian friends there too, but you know, we have a very small amount of minority skaters in the group. It's predominantly white. There's probably like a handful of black skaters, a handful of Asian skaters, but the rest are white. And the group me was honestly like 20 people, and now it's like 200 now. I don't even know half the people anymore. But I like last year when I was really like getting into skating, going out to parks all the time, I was able to host 2 CIB Baltimore events. I did a DMX one. After his passing, we had a DMX park skate, and I just had the whole DMX playlist.
Yes.
Okay.
Go
What?
That's amazing.
Just the whole time.
It was I enjoyed it, and the people that I was friends with enjoyed it, but everyone else who came to the meetup didn't really interact with like the music. I don't know if they didn't know who DMX was. That's kind of crazy if you don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But they didn't really interact with the music, and like the vibes weren't there. And then I did a thought shit skate up.
Okay.
Or not thought shit skate meet up. And it was like based off of Megan Thee Stallion's Thought Shit. I did a whole music video to it. I wrote the lyrics and everything for it. And I was like, come looking like a thought. And if you aren't comfortable looking like a thought, come with that thought energy. That's
Yeah,
all I ask. Those are the
exactly.
requirements. Thought clothes or thought energy.
your version
And there
of
was
that.
probably like
Yeah.
it was probably like outside of my close group of friends that came, like my friends who didn't even skate came and was
Aw.
thought it up.
Oh my
But
goodness. That's awesome.
I know my non-skate friends be supporting me and my shenanigans all the time. I love them to death. Hi Winnie and Kaya, shout out to y'all. But like the other people who came, and of course on Instagram when I posted it, everyone was like, oh, I can't wait to go. This is gonna be amazing. Da, 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 da. Like only maybe 2 other people did it. Like people came, like only 2 other people really followed the theme, interacted with the music. I had a banging playlist. Okay, that playlist flawless. Some of my
Send it.
best work. Okay, I worked
Send it.
so hard on that playlist.
I need that.
And
I need that.
and I was the host, and like CIB tagged me, and people knew I was the host, but all these people came and no one interacted with me. Like there were a bunch of new skaters that came and no one interacted with me as the host. Like they might have smiled at me and nodded, but outside of that, and I was doing my hostly duties. Okay, I was saying hi, I was shaking my ass, I was trying to do splits in front of people, trying to get people involved. I was literally like twerking on the ramp trying to get people hype. Okay, like it just wasn't there.
Oh, I
and
did.
again,
I remember seeing clips from this. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I know exactly what
I
you're talking
did.
about. I know exactly what you're talking
throw it
about.
up on
I'm
the
just
screen
trying
real
not to be a
quick.
Yeah.
I was
For our
just like,
viewers
this
at
set
home.
is very nice.
For our viewers, if you're watching on YouTube, here it is.
I like.
Yes.
But I again, I thought it was in my head that I was feeling comfortable and that people weren't interacting with me or with the theme or the event itself. Like people were skating, yeah, but like no one was. It was supposed to be a party event. We're supposed to be having fun together. We're all really hot femmes at the park. Like let's do it up. And again, I thought it was in my head until a white skater who I absolutely adore reached out to me on Instagram and let me know that she experienced the same thing with the party. Like she knew the vibe was off. She noticed no one was talking to me, and it pissed her off. And I was like, I'm so glad that you said something because I thought it was in my head. Like I keep trying to like gaslight myself, like I'm wrong. Like Alexis, you're making it up. And then of course all my other Black friends understood it and saw it. Then I was like, but you're Black and you're my friend. You're supposed to agree with me. But seeing that white skater saw it too, and it came to me and addressed it, I was like, okay, there's definitely something here. The vibes are definitely different at the park than at the rink. And that's when that's when I decided to like get away from park skating and start doing rink skating. That also, it was winter time, so it was cold, so I was not trying to be outside, but it just so happened to be at that same time where I was like, let me take a break from the park because it's really draining trying to put on a performance all the time for these skaters. It was feeling like a minstrel show. So I was like, I need to take a break from it, step back. I was able to do my jamming for a couple of months, but now I'm back at the park. I'm usually by myself though, so I don't really gotta perform for no one if I'm by myself. But I do have like a good solid group of skaters that like I feel comfortable with going to the parks with that like are non-Black skaters. But I just wish that, I don't know, maybe you just need more Black people in that space for people to feel more comfortable with it. But I don't really know how to fix that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that like we don't have the same experience at the skate park. Like she tells me all the time she can never go by herself and not have somebody have something to say to her, whether it's like harmless or not. It's just like nobody can just mind their business.
Yeah.
And like when I go, like people mind their business, and it's just like it's a very clear, obvious difference. And like it's up to people that don't experience that to stand up for our friends and make sure that people aren't bothering them and make sure that they feel safe and they can enjoy their time there just as much as we can, as freely as we can.
I mean, there's like 2 sides to it. So like oftentimes like being a woman, as well, or femme. Like at the park, a lot of my smaller, more petite, like really cute white girlfriends, they'll people approach them all the time. People don't approach me when I'm at the park. Whether I'm with people or not, people do not approach me. Even when I'm putting on like a minstrel show, trying to get people to see me in a more positive light. So I think there's two very different experiences where like either people are bothering you way too much because it's like a zoo and they've never seen someone who looks like us at the park, and they're like, oh my god, you can skate, oh my god, you don't really see black girls. Then of course you're showing up with this bright red hair, I'm showing up looking like a grape. So
looking like a grape.
My
we're
Skittles.
the different options of Kool-Aid. You want red or you want purple? Which one?
Right. But the thing is, like, if they thought all like quad skater chicks at the park were scary, then that's fine. I get that. But I'm going with other people. I'm going with white skaters, and people who are brand new, who've never met these white skaters before, will come up to them and talk to them. And I'm like, okay, so I know you're not afraid of women. What type of women are you afraid of is the question, And like I'll point that out, and my friends will be like, oh man, like, yeah, that's kind of wild. But that's I'm not there to make friends anyway. I'm just there to skate. If I make friends on the side, that's cool. But it's still like kind of like chips at you a bit. Like it's not something that's high value on my list, but still being able to experience it and still being able to recognize it definitely like kind of dehumanizes your park skating experience.
So what has been your experience in the skate park?
I think that when I'm by myself in the skate park, my experience is amazing because I'm kind of just in my own little world. When I'm at the skate park with my close group of trusted friends, it is amazing. And I usually unlock more tricks when I'm with people anyway, because they like dare me to do shit that I otherwise would not do by myself. But then when I go to like meetups, I'm definitely more self-conscious of how I am at the skate park. If I go to meetups with a bunch of other skaters that I'm not necessarily close with, and like maybe one or two of my close friends are there with me, and things like that, it's definitely not as comfortable. It's not as chill or laid back, because I have to be aware of how I'm interacting with these other skaters, or I'm like overly aware of how they're interacting with me and things like that. I usually don't unlock much at meetups because I can't really focus on my skating. So I'll just do things that I already know how to do over and over again, because I just can't function, properly. And that could be a little bit anxiety on my part. I'm not saying that all Black skaters experience this. This is just solely me, and I definitely have like some mental things to work through when it comes to how I interact with people and things like that. But as I've said before, it's not just in my head all the time. So I always be thinking it's just in my head, but people have told me like, I see it. I see what you're experiencing. And when other people see it, I'm like, okay, I just become more conscious of it. I'm like, okay. So there's like three different, I guess, different types of park Alexises that you can see, and depending on like who's in the area and things like that. But even though like it's kind of difficult sometimes at the park, that hasn't really put a damper on my love for park skating. Like as you can see, I could not wait to get back to it, and I missed it a lot when I took my break from it. I just absolutely love park skating, which is like, I'm like, okay, let me just try and find ways to make it more comfortable, make it more accessible, get more people who look like me into the parks. Because I know at the end of the day, that will make me feel more comfortable. If I saw more Black women at the park, like every time I find a new Black femme skater on Instagram, I lose my mind. I get so excited because I'm like, especially when like they're like super high level,
fucking
like,
shredding, like,
yo,
yo,
I
same.
lose my mind. I'm like, I saw,
Same.
so I like, one thing that I aspire to do is skate vert. But I also have a fear of heights, so I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there though. But I've never seen a black woman vert skater until a couple months ago, where I stumbled upon this black skater's account. I wish I remembered her at, so I could throw it up there. I don't remember it. But I was just so, and like, I was just mindlessly scrolling on Instagram, and then all of a sudden my eye just trained on her, and she dropped in on this huge vert ramp, and I just watched that video over and over again, because I was like, I've never seen this before. I've never seen a black woman skate vert before. That is crazy. And then I posted it, and I was like, have you guys ever seen a black woman skate vert before? And literally like 50 responses was like, no. And like, a lot of those responses were from seasoned skaters, not like pandemic skaters like me, but they were skating for a long time. And they were like, no, I've never seen a black woman skate vert. And they're like, wow, the fact that you pointed that out, I never thought about that before. And I'm like, yeah. It's so, that's just how rare it is. And even watching like the blading cup and quad cup, seeing how there were very like little to known black skaters in general, but
None.
specifically black
Almost.
women.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even just like onlookers, not even participants, just people showing up to enjoy the vibes. Like, there weren't that many black women there. And like, specifically like dark skinned black women, like that was hard to come by. Like, you'll see a lot of like lighter skinned black women, or you'll have a lot of mixed skaters as well. And well, I won't even say a lot, because it's not a lot of them either, but you know, just, you don't get a good representation of like the variety of blackness in skating. And I think that's really unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking the same thing, and I actually DM'd you, like, because it made me think of your episode where you were saying like, it's not accessible to a lot of people. This type of skating isn't. So
Yeah.
I while I was watching Blading Cup, that whole time I'm like looking, I'm like, where are the black women? Like,
the black
like
communities don't have access to the kind of skate parks and rinks we have. And you did your skate history on environmental racism, and you know, that's a major problem. And it's like, that's a major problem, and they're also not doing their part in Parks and Rec either for these communities. So if you don't feel safe going to these places, you're not going to get to that level. And on top of that, the algorithm isn't doing you any favors either. Like, you know, you get boosted. I don't know.
Like,
I
it
lost
was
my train of
like,
thought.
if you're listening or watching and you haven't seen that episode, I would recommend going back to Alexis's first episode on Skate Sunday to understand what we're talking about a little bit more. People don't understand the complexities of it, the accessibility.
Last time I was here, we talked about how there aren't resources put into neighborhoods like skate parks. Like, you're not going to find a lot of skate parks in majority black neighborhoods, low income neighborhoods, and things like that. But also, like, even if you were to put skate parks in there, would like a bunch of people be using them? I don't know, because skating isn't really advertised to our community either. So you can put something in there, but when you're already programmed to think, oh, that's white people shit, like, are you going to interact with it? For example, I've always wanted to go camping. Like, I would love to go camping, but I'm also never going to go camping because that's white people shit. Me and a tent in the middle of the woods. So, you know, Jason or whatever those serial killers that white people be having can come and kill me, and the black people always die first. No, heck no, I'm never going to do it. I always wanted to do it, you know, but am I gonna do it? Probably not, unless there's some black owned woods and I'm surrounded by a bunch of other people in tents that are black. I'm not going to do it. And the same thing could be for skating. And originally, you know, I was like that. I thought skating, whether it's quad skating at the park, and again, I did not know that existed until I started quad skating, or skateboarding at the park, or doing scooters, I thought that was white people shit. And growing up, I was like, oh, you have Avril Lavigne Skater Boy coming out. And I was like, oh, I want a skater boyfriend. That's what I want. And I always envisioned a white boy growing up. I have a boyfriend, 8 years strong. He is a skater boy and he is black.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
that is
Okay.
not who I envisioned
Okay.
when
And
I
you
was
two at the
younger.
park is so
Oh my
cute.
goodness.
Goals. So
Aw.
But
single.
when I was growing up and I was wishing I had a skater boyfriend, I never could have thought that he would have been black, because I did not
Wow.
think black people skated. You have Tony Hawk, you have Ryan Deerdeck, and you have who's the other one, Ryan Sheckler or whatever those skater boys were. That's who I thought skated. And then, which is crazy because you have like Rocket Power. We grew up with Rocket Power, and it's like a majority brown cast. But I
Mhm.
still did not think of skating as something that like people of color did, specifically black people did. I always saw it as, a white sport, a white thing to do. And then when I started dating my boyfriend in high school, he was a skater, and I said, "You skate?" And all of his friends, he had a very diverse group of friends, but he had majority black friends, and they were skaters too. It's like, like there's probably like four of them are black, and then they got their one white boy in the group that skates with them and things like that. And I was like, oh my god, you guys go to parks, you guys street skate? That is crazy. Like, it completely blew my mind that he was good at skating too, and his friends were good at skating. I've just never seen anything like that. Even like driving by parks and stuff, or whenever I saw skateboarders, it would always be white. So I was just it was like a culture shock seeing my boyfriend skate and go to the parks. And he started bringing me to the parks, and this was before I started skating, but just to watch him skate and things like that, I was shook. So then when I got my quad skates, and again, I started because I wanted to jam skate. I wanted to go to the rinks and be cute and be a disco diva. But he was like, why don't you go to the park with your skates? And I said, that's white people shit. Even though I've been with him for like 6 years at this point, and I know that black people skateboard, but I was like, that makes no sense. And I have had friends who are like, oh, are you gonna do derby? And I'm like, that's white people shit. I think back to whatever that Whip It, or the movie Whip It, I'm like, this is a bunch of white girl. That's
I
not.
don't think was there a black girl in that movie? Like one black skater? I don't
If
remember.
she was in there, I don't remember her.
It was
And
Eve.
that's Eve was in Whip It.
Eve. Oh no, how could I forget?
And she
Oh my
had her
God.
name
Shameful.
was I forgot.
Shameful.
I gotta Google.
I'm going to
what the
hell.
name
Well, I only
was.
watched it once.
Yeah, I only watched it like once too. I have it on
Yeah.
DVD somewhere.
It was
Actually.
Eve.
The amount of time we saw this white girl's
That is
face for the whole entire movie, like, let's be
exactly.
honest.
So
That's
the
what we talk
Eve,
about, not the cameo that Eve had.
Yeah,
Like,
despite
exactly.
Eve being like the rap goddess that she was at the top of the charts, height of her career during this time, fell to the wayside in this script and in this movie. So that again tells you a lot about
Mm-hmm.
derby and park and just skating in general, if it's not like rhythm skating at the rinks, of course, and predominantly black rinks. The black skaters fall to the wayside, or they're invisible or forgettable. And it's not because they aren't good. It's just you're just so overly saturated with white skaters that it's really hard to focus on anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just even having, like, again, parks, if you only see white people doing it, you're not going to think it's accessible to you, or it's going to be really intimidating to try to access, like, oh, I'm going to do it, but dang, I have to be the one to make that first step. I have to be the one that opens the door. No one's going to open the door for me. No one's going to welcome me through the door. I have to do it all by myself, and that can be really intimidating, and that can stop a lot of people from wanting to try something new that's usually labeled as an other type of activity. So there's just a lot of like financial barriers up. There's cultural barriers, but there's also mental barriers as well that people might not think about, trying to do something when you're not usually the poster child for it. And that can go for being black, that could go for being fat, that can go for being disabled at the skate park, and all of those things. Like, they're not marketed towards these demographics. So like if you're a part of those demographics, hell, if you're all three of those demographics, good luck, Charlie. It's gonna be really hard.
Good luck,
For
Charlie.
it's gonna be really hard for you to kind of like make your own path, make your own community. And shout out if you are a part of those communities and it's been real easy for you. I wish that was the reality for most, because I've talked to a lot of Black skaters. And I'm friends with a lot of fat skaters too, the Black or non-Black, and it's still very, difficult. We all have the same experiences. And that's what I just have to keep telling myself, like, no, it's not just in your head. Everyone's experiencing it. And that's comforting, but it's also like real depressing, because like, dang, we all struggling out here. I wish it was just me, but it's not.
It's not. No.
Yeah, I can confirm that roller derby is 100% white people shit. Absolutely. I can.
Shorty does.
I have
did
my own
derby,
experiences too. Me and my derby wife we were both the only Puerto Rican girls on the team. They were just like, they didn't know our names, and we look nothing alike. We don't sound alike. We don't act alike.
No.
We're friends, but like we didn't know each other very well.
Different hair textures.
Different hair texture. Like
she has
there's
hair texture
nothing
like
about
tighter
the
curls.
two of us that look alike, but they would constantly confuse us. And then I think it was our first game where I called someone out on it that we became best friends. And I was just like, no, the other Puerto Rican girl on the team. And they were just like, it's just like, yeah, like you are doing that. You're doing that.
You're doing the thing.
I will say that, call out culture has been really good to me in the skate world. I be calling people out a lot. I have no problem calling people out.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
do you?
And I will say that I haven't got a lot of pushback for me calling people out. Instead, I've gotten a lot of people like reflecting on the things they've said or they've done, and apologizing and trying to rectify that with their actions, not just their words, which I really appreciate. And that's something that, and I don't know why I say like in the real world, like we are in the real world skating, but I consider my skate world like a little bubble separate outside of like my reality, my real life. This is my alternate life, my Hannah Montana life.
There we go.
But I have had to call people out, and when I have done that, it's made the environment more comfortable for me. One, I know I could speak my mind around that specific person moving forward, and two, that they're not going to attack me or gaslight me and say that I'm wrong and try and make me think that I'm crazy for pointing out something that they've done that was insensitive. So that was really cool. And like for the past couple of months, I've been talking about doing a civil rights trail skate. So I work at the Lily Carroll Jackson Civil Rights Museum. I give tours inside the museum, but there's so much history in that neighborhood. I wanted to give tours outside of the museum on skates. I was like, I want to roller skate, and me and my friends skate around the neighborhood. We'll stop at different historical spots and I'll give them a little bit of information about the neighborhood. Given that Baltimore is like 62% Black, and CIB Baltimore does not look like 62% Black.
Wow.
In the neighborhoods where the skate parks are predominantly white neighborhoods, and that's very, very hard to strategically place skate parks in predominantly white neighborhoods when you're in such a Black city. Like that's a lot of effort you gotta do to do that. I was like, I think this would be good for these white women to go on this civil rights skate trail, especially because all of them, they'll reach out to me. They thank me for my quick histories and things like that. And I was like, I'll bring quick histories to you. Like we'll be there together, skating, enjoying each other's company, and learning a little bit more about the city that we live in. And because I would say Baltimore is probably the most important city in the civil rights movement, and not enough people know that. The history is definitely overlooked because of the bad rep that it gets with like crime and unemployment and drugs and things like that. People don't understand that Baltimore has such an extensive civil rights history and activism history. And specifically in West Baltimore alone, not even just the whole city, just in a tiny part of Baltimore, it has this crazy amount of history. So, and there's a lot of skate parks in in that area. Like 10, there's 2 skate parks, like in a DIY spot, and a roller skating rink, literally 10 minutes from the museum. Um, but no one knows the museum exists or the importance of that area. So I was like, okay, I want to do this civil rights skate. And then I came up to me that I should make it a Juneteenth event. I was like,
Heck
okay, it'll
yeah.
be a Juneteenth civil rights skate tour event. This was a really cool event to have that would connect the skate community to the community they actually live in that they otherwise don't connect with and know nothing about. I reached out to another organization, and it is a queer skateboarding group that highlights queer people of color, skaters of color. So I was like, y'all want to do this? And they were like, that sounds dope. And I was like, you know what? It does sound dope.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. And again, I don't need an organization to make this event happen. I could do it all by myself, but I was looking for a sense of community. And I wanted people to show up and not just think it's one person doing it, but it's a community that put this together, and encourage people to want to be a part of that community.
Thank you so much for like doing the work in your community, like for caring.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
It's
There's gonna be, you've probably, and maybe you've noticed or haven't noticed, but there's probably little Black girls that look up to you and are like, damn. I think you posted something the other day where you were showing kids around or something, and they were like, oh my God, like going off on you. Like, yes, well deserved, of course. But
I mean,
yeah.
I live my life as the person that like little Alexis would have loved to see in the streets. Like younger, I never would have imagined a Black girl with colorful hair and like a full tattooed sleeve on her arm walking around in some anime shirts or brat shirts, I would never imagine that like growing up. And the fact that I am that person walking in the streets, it makes my childhood inner self feel really good. But the fact that I did have like students in my museum come up to me and be like, hey, your hair is really cool, your tattoo is really cool, I never would have expected to see this in a museum, I thought it was going to be stuffy and you made my experience so much better. Like that, I could die happy. That's really the goal of my life. I've achieved it. I might still be broke, but I'm happy.
What would you say to Black skaters that want to get into aggressive park skating?
I would say find your community or try and find other Black aggressive park skaters too. First, so you can fuck up your algorithm and start seeing more Black people on your page. But because it is really welcoming when you're connected with people who look like you in a marginalized space. I think that's always important to see people who look like you in that space so you can have a reminder that you belong there because they're there and they're doing it. And like I don't think I would still be comfortably park skating if I didn't have, my close group of friends that will go to the parks with me and things like that. We're just fat Black women at the park falling on our ass and stuff, and we kiki it up. We have a great time. My skate group's called the Big Dogs. We're not a real skate group, but we're just a group of friends, and that's what we call ourselves. And we're a multicultural group as well. We got Black, we got white, we got Asian, we got the queers, we got the straights, we got everybody,
every flavor.
So just find your group, find other minorities if you don't really have Black people in your area. Because you can definitely connect with other minorities. You might not have the same exact experience, but still having that solidarity across different cultural groups is still very important.
And then my last question for the night is, what are some ways that companies could make it more accessible to more communities? Or what are some ways that like imaginary wish lists that we can make park skating more accessible to Black people and people of color?
So I've thought a lot about this. And you know what? I would love to answer this question, but people gonna have to pay me my coin to answer that question.
You're right, actually.
Say-
This
So
is
I'm
too
not
much.
Buy
gonna
my book.
I'm not gonna answer that question.
You're so right.
Any skate companies that are watching this, I am a diversity and inclusion consultant. Okay, that is my part-time gig. I have been hired before by
Yes.
other companies and have done the work. If you want to know, please email me at lexiojeda@yahoo.com or alexis.ojedabrown@gmail.com. Or you can message me on my Instagram at _Jamdalorian, and I will give you the answer to that with a fee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Period.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Look,
That was beautiful.
look.
Nothing free.
Yes,
Nothing free.
Nothing.
I was really not the answer. I was like, oh,
yeah,
have the
I just
answers.
this
She's
is
like,
why we love you so much. Like this is why. You just
Absolutely.
like I just want to again thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience. Where can they find you if they want to find you? I know you just did it all, but
I did just do it all, but I have no problem advertising myself again.
Let 'em
You
know.
can find me on Instagram at the with 2 E's, like Megan the Stallion. So at the_Jamdalorian, like Mandalorian, but jam because jam skating, even though I don't do that.
again, thank you
for
so
your
much.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me again 2 times, a 2-timer, yeah.
Our first return guest.
A 2-time. Welcome to the 2-time club. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Rosalie. You can find me at Rolling with Rozy.
I'm Shorty. You can find me at Hey Shorty with 3 Y's and 2 underscores.
And if you're looking for us, you can find us at Skate Sunday. Thanks for listening and watching.
Bye.
Bye.